Welcome to Her Fund Talks, the podcast where we deep dive into gender conscious investment and women led enterprises. I'm Milena Stojceva, and I'm your host. Today, I have the pleasure to welcome a great partner, Chloé Guilfoyle. Chloé is a Franco-Irish entrepreneur with a background in international law, mergers and acquisitions, and international trade. Her passion is for mobility and innovation has led her to launch her first tech venture in the travel industry. And guess what? It's an area that we all very much care about. When we usually go to travel, we're looking for these cool websites or instructions to help us find these cozy, special places when we travel. So this has been the specialty of Chloé in setting up her venture focused on digitizing travel guides and leveraging geodata to promote local tourism. The mission to help travelers explore hidden gems, local heritage, and authentic experiences off the beaten path, while also empowering under-digitized tourism stakeholders. Chloé is deeply committed to female entrepreneurship and solidarity because she also went on to fund Femme Business Angels, France's first network of 200 female investors and angel investors supporting early stage startups or founders. Today, she is also the founder of Avalon, a modern guild designed to support entrepreneurs daily, offering strategic guidance, operational resources, access to funding, and targeted connections at the right moment to fuel growth. Avalon also pioneers community as a service model, creating both physical and digital spaces where entrepreneurs, experts, and investors can connect, collaborate, and build opportunities together. The ambition to foster robust, systemic businesses and create cross-border bridges to access new markets, no matter your sector, maturity, or location. And Chloé, I have to say that this somewhat very much matches the mission of her fund. So I'm very happy to have you here to have this conversation around some of the topics that we are bringing forward and creating awareness through experiences. Let me start by asking you, because you have that experience both as a founder and then as an investor. What do you see as primary challenges for female-led startups when they come to the point of securing funding? Where is
Hello, Milena.
that stumbling stone we have to jump over?
Thank you for having me on the Her Fun podcast, Milena. Let's dive right in. So, raising funds as a woman, as I experienced it, often feels like playing a game where no one gave you the rule book and you're expected to smile while guessing the rules. And honestly, it starts with access for me. In France, only 12% of venture funding goes to female founded or mixed teams, and just 2% to all female teams. So, yet women represent 40% of entrepreneurs here. There's a clear gap, but why? And for me, there's three reasons to that: bias in evaluation. There was a study by Harvard that showed that women founders get 63% more risk-based questions, while men are asked what questions about growth potential. So it's not about talent; it's about being asked the wrong questions. Men get how big can you grow? Women get how will you survive the risk? If you see the difference. The
Exactly.
second would be network the second would be network access. Most deals still happen within existing male-dominated networks. That's how it goes. And the third would be underselling, and that politeness training runs deep in women, unfortunately, because women ask 30% less than men when raising capital, not due to a lack of ambition, but because we've been conditioned not to ask.
Yes, well, how interesting. So it's in a way ingrained, some of it, really. It's a question of approach,
Exactly.
very much into the culture, but also in the way we are raised, in the mindset. Thank you for that. That is the point that has come across, and I think it's not just Harvard. It seems to be a lot of the organizations, institutions, companies are doing this research, and it keeps repeating that there is that bias, especially and the other thing that strikes me is that you are pointing these figures, this 2% of female funded enterprises being invested in, only 2% keeps also appearing and being validated across Europe, across also globally, internationally. So this brings me to the second question. What, in your opinion, is the most significant impact of this gender gap? Where does it lead to? And how can we maybe overcome it? Or because you pointed out these obstacles, now let's move on to how do we deal with that?
So the most significant impact for me, it's huge and costly as well. There was another study, I can't remember where I saw that found that female-founded startups generate twice as much revenue per dollar invested compared to male-founded startups, and yet they still get a fraction of the funding, which I found interesting. And beyond economics, when women build, they solve real problems, often in healthcare, in education, in climates, sectors with massive societal impact for me. And we're today underfunding solutions that could change the world. So that would be the biggest impact for me.
Yes. So really to start looking more seriously in terms of depth and also in terms of longer term impact is one of the the ways to handle this. And this again should come also with awareness and more conscious way of handling this subject matter. And how can the investment community then support better women-led enterprises or even diverse enterprises, but with more sensitivity, both in terms of funding and in terms of mentorship? I think networking is, as you were mentioning, quite of a factor.
Yes, so love this question because it's actionable.
Yes,
For me, it would be to stop making women audition for survival while men pitch their moonshots, if that's a correct image.
yes,
I guess it would be to flip the narrative. Investors need to ask women about potential, not just risks. And I've, dealt with that when I was raising fund on my first company, and I was comparing with a male entrepreneur who was a friend of mine. We were comparing questions, and so that's where it hit me. And I then, went around my female friends and asked them, "Do you get also those questions?" And the truth was yes. So that would
yes,
be the first thing.
yeah.
The second would be to back more female-led VC firms or angel investor networks as well, because currently women are only 1 out of 10 decision makers in the VC at the global scale, which is so little. So we have like a full path to explore. And you were talking about network. What helped me in my first business being able to scale quickly was introductions. And
Mhm.
for me, most of the startup deals come through warm intros, and women need to be in those rooms and ask also, not being afraid of saying, well, can you introduce me to that person? That will accelerate also, opportunities. And my personal mantra would be raising funds is not for a favor or for asking for help. That's often the position we're kind of leaning to, unfortunately. uh, the position needs to change as when you go and see investors, it's you're offering an opportunity for them to invest in a great business. So
I
it's the
love
narrative
this. This
that's
is
important.
this is so true. It's the narrative we should be promoting because you are not actually giving them a favor, making them a favor. It's about finding the right match, right? Because they're looking for good
Exactly.
opportunities to invest, and you are on the providing side, so you should be even treated with more respect in a way. Yes.
And not be
This is demand
apologetic.
and not be apologetic. Great point. Um, so, what do you envision as the future of the investment landscape for women-led startups, given that, let's say, we have this awareness, we have this understanding, we have people who are, flipping the narrative. Where do we go? How is the future looking like?
I try to see it in an optimistic way. Um, I saw that by 2030, women will control half of global wealth. Today, it's about 30%, and for me, that would be a really a shift of power that will come in the next 5 years. So I'm very curious to see how it evolves. And
Yeah.
initiatives like her fund are crucial, of course. They build a pipeline of visible, fundable, women-led businesses. And the future for me would be gender lens investing becoming the norm, because investors will demand diversity, not for charity, of course, but for better returns.
Mhm.
And women's voices, stories, and ambitions will be, for me, I hope, fully funded at this point.
Yes. I want to second that vision. I am thinking the same way. And we have to be persistent in supporting it and also sharing with the rest of the world, be vocal about it, because this is one way to spread the word. Can you share a specific example from your that you would know, maybe in your network or from the people you've been working with in the community as a service where a female founder-led startup faced some significant challenges in their growth, in their journey in securing funding?
Of course, so I can talk about from my entrepreneurial journey, but also from the business angel side. I think it could be interesting
Mhm.
to see both lenses. So on my on for when I was building my first company, what we faced, like many, the classic loop, which was to build credibility, to prove traction, and to secure the first investor to unlock the rest. It's kind of,
Mm.
like a wave
A snowball
that
effect.
sets off.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. And what surprised me was like we were three women associate on a tech project, and everybody was like, "You're gonna, raise funds so easily, blah blah blah." But no one told me how rare it was for a woman to raise, funding. And we were talking about the figures just early on, and so maybe sometimes ignorance is a blessing,
Yeah,
but
yes.
we succeeded. We
Yeah. How long
succeeded
did it
by
take
not.
you to do this? How long did it take you to break the barrier and start?
So initially, I wanted to raise funds in under about 6 months. We were looking to raise about 500K.
Hmm.
And in France, you have all those leverage mechanism also with banks and public subvention, which kind of goes, if you raise €1 in private equity, you can go and get €1 in public funding. That's
Mating.
the
Yes.
mechanism in
Hmm.
France. And what we did to succeed is what I spent a lot of time and energy as well trying to go to early VCs or business angels network but the
Mm.
processes were super long. The competition was also kind of, harsh. And
Where
so
was
I
it
did when
harsher? On the VCs, with VCs,
yeah,
or
of
also
course.
with the leverage financing
No, more with VCs.
with VCs?
Leverage financing, that was fine. It was more with VCs where on the early stage, I was raising funds in 2022, which was kind of in France. The slope was kind of slowing down on investing, and I had a project in travel tech, which was data related, but a lot of investors were changing their investment thesis towards more mature projects, even
Mm.
for business angel networks that were initially funding, really early stage projects. And also on the sectors they were supporting, there was a full shift on deep tech, AI, biotech. So, other those projects are on another scale for us. And what I did was I shifted kind of my strategy of finding angel investors after those 6 months where it was a bit tough and I was raising funds on my own as well. And we succeeded by focusing on independent business angels with key skills that we needed to challenge our project.
Mhm.
And how I got those business angels was a few months back. I already started to build relationships with them, saying, "Hi, we exist. We're doing this. This is how we, progressed." And once we were raising funds, they had already heard of us, followed our journey, and understood our vision. And it was much easier after that to, for them to be
Convinced
part
then
of the
to
adventure on our
validate.
side.
Yeah. Hmm.
Exactly. And becoming allies in this adventure. So,
Yes.
most importantly, I would still suggest that, and that's what I saw also, in business plans in the companies I was analyzing when I was in the business angel network, is that women tend to focus more on clients first.
Oh, sorry, on
We're
10
seeing, on clients first.
clients first. Yeah, but this is very
Because
important. Yeah.
the
Hmm.
easiest money to raise is from your clients, your markets, and not your VC. And we can see today that there's a shift on raising funds. It was super easy 10 years ago, where with one slide you could raise millions.
Yes.
Today investors are much more prudent as well, because there's a lot of projects, unfortunately, that didn't follow the plan they promised their investors. So there's a lot of prudence and aversion to risk today.
Yes. So, but this exactly this customer traction that you would have and already proven, an approach that usually female founders have, is the right one to match this prudency, right?
Exactly.
So it seems to be the good moment to take that to ride on that wave, I would say. Um, so, what role do you think networks and especially mentorship play in that journey in creating a growing startup or enterprise in leading such a company?
Well, for me, it's everything. If you see the example of a forest, for instance,
Mhm.
all the trees are communicating through their roots, sending each other information, nutrients, also for everybody to grow together. And that's what I feel today. There's a need for community. And sharing also, knowledge base, either if you're, an early startup, which you're super flexible and can try new tools in your business, but also for businesses that are maybe less innovative but want to bring innovation to stay competitive. So that's for me, trying to cross pollinate more, on different sectors, on different ideas and different professions. And what we see also is most businesses fail in the first 3 years when they have no mentorship or support. And
Mhm.
funding is about trust, The trust is built through relationships, and women need access to, as I was saying, warm introductions, not being afraid to ask for them, of course, mentors who get their industry, and peer support. A network and community changes the game. That's why today I'm building Avalon, as you introduced
Yes,
earlier,
yes.
which is, community of entrepreneurs who want to not be competitive one with each other, but more cooperative and growing collectively.
Yes, great point. Because I think what we've been seeing that there is also a trend that is emerging and setting more and more, and it is that shift from competition to more cooperation and collaboration. And I think with your model, community as a service, but building that platform for collaboration, I think you're really matching that need that emerges. What other trends, just to have as a final, what other trends in investments do you see? But in closing our conversations, or other tips you would give to
Yes.
female founders or investors.
Y- You're talking about, yeah, community networking. For me, in collective intelligence is something we need to focus on, which is also business intelligence, being able to also talk directly about mental health of entrepreneurs, not being left alone. How do we better support them? How do we, give them access to resources, opportunities? And for me, the emerging trends in the investment world, I would say there's three big waves that I can see today. The first
Mhm.
one would be impact investing, of course, which is booming. And
Yes,
women-led startups are perfectly positioned here.
for yeah.
The second one would be collective investing. Investors invest in French startups. We need a more European approach, but also market-wise, a startup that's launching could access, a European, which is about
Bigger
400
market. Yeah,
million
have a single,
consumers.
yeah, to
Exactly,
have a single market rather than individual countries. Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
Diversity, of course, and
Yes.
diversity for me brings risk mitigation as well. So funding more diverse teams is a safer bet as well. And my favorite would be more women becoming investors themselves, because that's how we shift the power.
Yes. Love it. Thank you so much. Chloe, it's been great talking to you. I really think we came up with some wonderful insights, and also this trend about more impact, women being very well positioned in that, more diversity, as you were saying, more collective intelligence, working together. And as you said, the transformative role of being an entrepreneur, then in becoming later on an investor yourself. It's been great talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.